Thank you, Chair Perry and Ranking Member Davids. For calling today's hearing, I welcome the opportunity to discuss how Congress can help FEMA better fulfill its mission of helping communities before, during, and after disasters. Talking about non-traditional disasters, in an ideal world, FEMA would have never had to respond to a nationwide, in fact a worldwide, pandemic. But the worst case scenario occurred and FEMA stepped in and responded to the unthinkable, which is exactly what we expect FEMA to do anytime there is a disaster. FEMA's assistance during the COVID-19 pandemic kept our healthcare system afloat, provided life-saving medical equipment, administered unemployment insurance that helped families keep a roof over their head and food on the table, ran vaccine sites that saved countless lives, and offered grieving families a small comfort through funeral assistance. The testimony from the Office of the IG says a lot of money was lost to fraud and ineligible payments, and that's true. We've seen that, and we need to consider that. And it was lost when FEMA administered the COVID-19 relief programs, including the lost wage and funeral assistance programs. Fraud is bad. We need to protect taxpayer dollars. But no program is going to be perfect when you're administering it in the midst of a global emergency and the randomness of COVID, especially an emergency as unexpected and unprecedented as the COVID-19 pandemic was. At a certain point, it's necessary to step back, see the bigger picture, where scrupulously accounting for every penny of disaster relief can result in such a long and complex process that a single mother struggling to survive is unable to access desperately needed assistance. FEMA has also stepped up when asked to provide humanitarian assistance for migrants. FEMA's role at the U.S.-Mexico border has not undermined its ability to respond to natural disasters. And I support the mission of the Shelter and Services Program, which provides short-term humanitarian assistance, like sheltering, food, and medicine to individuals who have come to our country fleeing violence or in search of a better life. When people are suffering, does America stand by and do nothing? Or do we do the right thing and provide assistance that can save lives? Non-traditional disasters are not the only factor we should be considering when discussing disaster readiness. Climate change is making disasters more frequent, intense, and costly, straining FEMA's workforce and resources. In the 1980s, the country experienced, on average, $1 billion disaster every 4 months. Now there is, on average, $1 billion disaster every 3 weeks. In 2023, the U.S. experienced climate and weather disasters causing $92.9 billion in damage. This data shows that climate change is expanding the amount of work FEMA must do to carry out to fulfill its mission. Investment in mitigation and resilience are proven to lessen the impact of climate and weather-related disasters and should be at the center of FEMA's strategy to assure readiness in this evolving world. Communities are vulnerable. Many infrastructure systems in the U.S. are at the end of their useful life. They are not designed to cope with the additional stress from climate change and extreme weather. That's why I'm a supporter of the resilience investments that we made in the Inflation Reduction Act and the bipartisan infrastructure law. I'm pleased to see FEMA making climate change a central focus of its strategic plan while implementing these bills. FEMA's work is making mitigation projects possible in communities around the country. And funding for mitigation and resilience is not enough. FEMA needs that workforce that is ready to rise to the challenge. The FEMA workforce demonstrated incredible capability and resilience during the response to the COVID-19 pandemic, but future success in workforce resilience requires adequate staffing. I remain concerned that the Government Accountability Office findings that a 35% staffing gap exists across different positions at FEMA. I'm concerned about that, and I urge the agency to prioritize recruitment and retention of a resilient and diverse workforce. Diversity is important because it will improve program delivery and the agency's understanding of challenges faced by disaster survivors across the nation, from rural Texas to northern Alaska, to Puerto Rico, to Maui and Lahaina, and even in the Puget Sound. The BIL made great progress in making our nation more resilient by providing nearly $7 billion to help communities proactively prepare for disasters. Maintaining a resilient workforce, incorporating climate change projections into all FEMA's programs, and prioritizing investment in mitigation is key to ensuring our nation's readiness to disasters. Administrator Criswell, you have a difficult job. I thank you for your work that FEMA has done under your leadership. Your dedication to FEMA's mission and service to communities before and after disasters is building a safer nation. I look forward to discussing with you and the other witnesses how we can work together to achieve disaster readiness and help the agency achieve its goals. So thank you for being here. Look forward to your testimony, and yield back my negative 4 seconds.